Let me ask you a question we've all pondered. Why does wealth seem to flow so easily to some, while others who work just as hard struggle to make ends meet? We often chalk it up to luck, connections, or sheer talent. But what if there was a hidden law, an underlying principle, governing what many cultures call rizq, your divinely apportioned provision, your sustenance, your wealth? What if the difference isn't just in what people do, but in who they become in the process? Let's unfold this first keynote, the quiet truth that separates aspiration from arrival. It's an idea that has hummed through time, often mistaken for privilege or luck, but when examined closely reveals itself as the most democratic of laws. Whilst wealth flows to the ready, not just the needy. This is not about dismissing need. Need is real, it is urgent, it is human. But need by itself is a barren field. It is a cry into an empty room. The world responds not to our emptiness, but to our substance. It moves towards those who have, against all odds, against all immediate evidence, prepared a vessel within themselves capable of holding abundance. This readiness is the silent architecture of fortune. Think of it this way. Imagine water flowing down a mountainside. It does not ask which crevice is the thirstiest. It follows the path of least resistance, filling the channels that are open, deep and clear. A shallow, cracked basin will lose the water as quickly as it receives it. Our lives are those basins. Our readiness is the depth and integrity of our character, the clarity of our mindset, the strength of our daily disciplines. Wealth, in all its forms, financial, intellectual, spiritual, relational, is that water. It seeks its own level within the containers it finds. The person riddled with inconsistency, doubt, and a transactional view of every relationship presents a fractured container. The energy of opportunity, of trust, of capital senses the fragility and moves on, seeking a vessel that promises not a leak but a reservoir. So, what constitutes this readiness? It is not a single attribute, but a symphony of cultivated traits. It begins, perhaps most fundamentally, with trust, not a blind, passive hope, but a conscious, operational trust, a deep-seated conviction that the universe is fundamentally abundant, that your sincere effort has meaning, and that your provision is seeking you as earnestly as you are seeking it. This is the antithesis of desperation. Desperation has a scent. It's in the quick, hungry glance, the pressured speech, the hand that takes more than it gives. The world and the people in it who control resources and opportunities subconsciously recoil from this energy. It signals risk, instability, and drain. Readiness, grounded in trust, emits a different frequency entirely, one of calm assurance, of focused creation, of open-handed generosity. It says, I am here to build, to add, to contribute. I know there is enough, and I am prepared to do my part within that abundance. That calm is magnetic. It attracts collaboration, opens doors, and invites investment. From this foundational trust blossoms the second pillar of readiness. Asset value creation as a default mode of being. The needy person is fixated on the gap, what they lack, what they must extract. The ready person is fixated on the garden, what they can plant, what they can grow, what beauty and nourishment they can offer to others. Their primary question is not, what's in it for me? But, what problem can I solve? What skill can I master to the point of artistry? How can I make this process, this team, this community better? They understand the profound, yet simple economic and spiritual law of money is a shadow. It follows the substance of value. If you chase the shadow, you will forever be running, exhausted, grasping at illusions. If you tend to the substance, the product, the service, the idea, the genuine connection, the shadow will follow you inexorably wherever you go. The ready person becomes a beacon of value. They are so engrossed in the craft of their work, the integrity of their word, and the quality of their contribution that wealth has no choice but to flow in their direction as a natural consequence. This leads to the third, often overlooked aspect of readiness, irastroesides, emotional and psychological capacity. Can you handle success? It sounds like a frivolous question, but it is perhaps the most critical. Sudden, unearned wealth, like a torrential downpour on unprepared soil, often leads to erosion and loss. It washes everything away, because the ground was not compact, was not terraced, was not ready to receive and retain it. Readiness means having the fortitude to manage doubt, to withstand criticism, to delay gratification, and to handle loss without collapsing into bitterness. It means having a self, worth that is not tied to your net worth, so that when money comes, you are its master, not its panicked servant. It is the resilience to see a setback as a data point, not a definition. This inner fortitude is what allows a person to hold wealth, to grow it steadily, and not be destroyed by its whispers or its storms. The needy person sees wealth as an end, a salvation. The ready person sees it as a tool, a responsibility, a form of energy to be directed with wisdom. Finally, readiness is about alignment and action. It is the fusion of right intention with right effort. It is showing up day after day, not with the frantic energy of, I must get mine, but with the dedicated energy of, this is who I am and what I do. It is the student who studies the subject deeply, not just for the grade, but for the love of learning, and finds opportunities for research and mentorship flowing to them. It is the entrepreneur who obsesses over customer delight, not just the quarterly profit, and builds a loyal tribe that sustains their business. It is the artist who refines their technique for years in obscurity, driven by a vision, until the world finally sees what has been there all along. This alignment, where your actions are in harmony with your deepest values and a vision of service, creates a coherence that the universe seems to reward. It cuts through the noise, it builds a reputation that precedes you. It creates a personal gravity that draws things towards you. Therefore, when we observe someone for whom wealth seems to arrive with grace and increasing momentum, we must look beyond the surface. We are not seeing mere luck. We are witnessing the outward manifestation of a long, often invisible, internal preparation. We are seeing the deep basin patiently carved out by trust, value creation, emotional resilience, and aligned action. The water was always coming. It was only waiting for a place to call home. Your call to action, then, is not to stand at the edge of the field, shouting your needs at the sky. It is to turn inward and to begin today the sacred work of preparing your vessel. Cultivate that unshakable trust. Dedicate yourself to creating undeniable value. Forge an inner resilience that can weather any storm. Align your daily efforts with a purpose larger than possession. Do this and you will stop chasing wealth. Without even realizing it, you will have become the kind of person wealth chases. And when it finally arrives at your door, it will not be a stranger, it will recognize you, and you will know exactly what to do with it. Let us move deeper into the heart of the matter, where the very ground of your being meets the flow of all things. This is the second keynote. The bedrock upon which all else is built, Ka's foundation of trust, not desperation. Understand, this is not a call to a blind, wishful optimism. It is the hard-won, conscious choice to live from a different premise, a different cosmology altogether. It is the decision to inhabit a universe of abundance, rather than a universe of scarcity. This trust is not the absence of fear or doubt. It is the presence of a deeper conviction that chooses your actions even when fear and doubt are in the room, shouting. It is the quiet engine that powers the vessel of readiness, the invisible compass that guides you through the fog of uncertainty. Desperation is a state of profound spiritual and energetic contraction. It is the mind, heart, and soul convinced of a fundamental lack. It believes there is only one pie and everyone is fighting for the last slice. It sees life as a zero-sum game. When you operate from desperation, your entire being is wired for extraction. Your hand tightens into a fist. Your vision narrows to the immediate transaction. Every conversation, every opportunity is filtered through a single, frantic question. What can I get from this? This energy is a repellent. It is a high-pitched, dissonant frequency that resonates with lack and pushes away the very things it craves. People sense it. Opportunities recoil from it. Because desperation signals instability. It signals a vacuum that will suck resources dry without generating anything new or sustainable. It is the energy of the sinking ship, and no one wants to board it, no matter how loudly the captain shouts for help. Trust, on the other hand, is a state of expansion. It is the profound, often unspoken, belief in a foundational sufficiency. It is not a belief that you personally possess everything you need at this very moment. That would be delusion. It is the belief that what you need exists within the system of creation, and that by aligning yourself with the principles of that system. Principles like effort, integrity, service, and patience, you will become a conduit through which it can flow to you and through you. This trust says, there is enough. My sincere effort is a meaningful contribution to the whole. My provision is out there, circling, seeking the person I am becoming. This is an active, muscular faith. It is not sitting on a couch waiting for a check. It is the farmer who tills the soil, plants the seed, and tends the crop with the calm certainty that, barring a true catastrophe, the earth will yield. He works in partnership with an intelligence greater than his own, but his work is non-negotiable. His trust is in the process, not in a passive outcome. When you inhabit this trust, your entire psychology shifts. The anxiety that claws at your stomach begins to loosen its grip. The need to control every variable, to manipulate every outcome, starts to fade. You begin to operate from a place of creative power rather than reactive fear. You can make a generous offer without an immediate guarantee of return, because you trust that generosity is a fertile seed in an abundant field. You can walk away from a dishonest deal that promises quick cash, because you trust that integrity preserves a far more valuable currency: your reputation and your peace. You can invest in learning a difficult new skill, not because you have a job lined up, but because you trust that mastery has a magnetic property all its own. This internal calm is your most potent asset. It allows you to see clearly, to think strategically, to listen deeply, and to connect authentically. This trust fundamentally alters your relationship with action. Desperation leads to frantic, scattered motion. Applying for 100 jobs with the same generic resume, pitching anyone with a pulse, grasping at every opportunity that glitters, however flimsy. It's a numbers game born of panic. Trust, however, leads to focused, potent action, because you are not operating from a fear of missing out. You can afford to be selective. You can do one thing and do it with profound excellence. You can research the single company that aligns with your soul, tailor your approach with exquisite care, and make a connection that is meaningful. You can build one product with obsessive love, solve one problem with elegant depth. Your actions are no longer screams for validation, they are offerings of value. They carry the signature of your calm assurance, and that signature is what makes them stand out in a noisy, desperate world. Perhaps most importantly, this foundational trust liberates you to serve. Desperation must consume. Trust can contribute. When you are secure in the knowledge of your own eventual provision, you can look outward. You can see the needs of others, not as a threat to your own dwindling resources, but as an invitation to participate in the flow. You can mentor someone without needing credit. You can share a contact, an idea, a resource freely. You operate from the understanding that the pipeline to you is not shut off by giving. In fact, you are keeping it clear and flowing. This posture of service is the ultimate expression of trust. It is a live demonstration to the universe and to your own subconscious that you are not at the edge of starvation, but are in fact so connected to the source that you can afford to be a source for others. It transforms you from a beggar at the banquet into a steward of the feast. Building this foundation is a daily practice. It is the conscious rejection of scarcity, mongering headlines and conversations. It is the gratitude for what you have, which affirms abundance. It is the act of giving when it feels illogical. It is keeping your word, which builds self-trust. It is the meditation that returns you to the center, where the noise of lack fades away. You are brick by brick, thought, building an inner citadel that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. From this fortress of calm, you survey the world not as a barren battlefield, but as a field of infinite potential and collaboration. Your energy is no longer spent defending a tiny patch of dirt, but is free to explore, to build, to connect, and to create. And in that liberated state, you become a different kind of signal in the world. You become a beacon of stability, of creativity, of generosity. And the ancient hidden law responds to such signals. It moves towards the calm, the certain, the trusting. For it is in these vessels that wealth, true, lasting, meaningful wealth, finds not just a temporary holder, but a true home.